Okay, let's download some files here. So I'm going to pull up my custom dialogues with user forms page. And here is the file that we're going to use today. Download this file. I will save it in my downloads and then open the folder and right click, do properties and unblock the file. And then I'll open it. Let me close this guy.
Why are we unblocking the file? Because I've never had. I don't know. I still do it. Wait, I'm not on it. So it doesn't.
Yeah, there is a, I don't, maybe you've done this. If you go into your trust center, you can actually add a location to your trusted locations, and then it won't ask you that anymore. Um, and then I think there's another setting somewhere that says, trust this. There's a couple different ways. Maybe that was it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Enable VBA macros. Dangerous. So you're living on the edge, Grace. You're living on the edge. A little bit less edgy. Okay. That's crazy. I think we've seen this file before. Have we seen this file before? Some of this data? I think so. I can't remember. I think so. As I recall, I think we were doing a list a long time ago, maybe a month or so ago. We were coming up with a list of departments. And at this point, we've come up with a whole bunch of lists. What this is a product sheet. This is actually real data scraped from an online retail people, and they were selling stuff. I don't even know what. A sleeping mallard for $29.99. Ring neck magnum, full body duck. I'm not sure what that means. Do we know what that is? Oh, these are decoys. Full body duck? Wait, like you dress up as a duck?
No, you just got like there's different decoys. There's ones that like dip, like
Oh, the duck is a full body, not you. Gotcha. Does it work? Is it worth $76? Probably not.
there's probably not one.
Oh, there's 6 of them in there. Okay. So you know what this stuff is. They got some swim stuff in here. What's a Grange boot? Anybody know what a Grange boot is? Some kind of rubber boot. Maybe it's a brand. Anyways, they're selling all this stuff. And we have all this in an Excel form. The goal for today is to create a user form so that we can go in and edit this stuff, right? I mean, this is like really bad to edit. If I wanted to see all of the columns, I have to zoom out, and I have all this pixel space in my screen. And if the only thing I wanted to do was to edit my, where's my full body duck? My full body duck here. This makes it kind of hard to edit it. So one of the things we're going to do today is we're going to create a user form that we can use to help us change. If we want to change the price, if we want to change the name, if we wanted to change the description, just a way to edit this information through a user form. So that's the goal for today. Just one at a time, right? So on this user form, we'll just have one product show up at a time. So let's go to developer tab. We'll pull open our Visual Basic and let's do insert form. Let's see. So they have forms in this already? Okay, here's a form already. This is the kind of thing that we're going to be doing. This is a little bit different than what we're going to do today. So let's insert a new form. And this is some VBA from the lists. So I'm going to go ahead to come up to insert here, and instead of inserting a module, I'm going to insert a user form. And that should bring up the toolbox, and it should create a user form right here. So this is our user form. I'll maybe increase the size a little bit. Move the toolbox over here. And there's a couple of things that we can do right off the bat here with our user form. Here's the properties window. Remember how to get the properties? So if we do view properties window, this is the way that we can use to change the name of the form right here. Let's change the form. It is common practice in VBA coding to create a 3-letter prefix for all of the objects when we use user forms. And so it's really common when we create a name of a form to say FRM at the front. FRM as a short notation for form, right? FRM form. And we'll just name this prod, form, product form. Let's do FRM prod as the name. And that's going to change the name here, the code name of the form. Notice it didn't change this name up here. This has a different field called caption. So we'll come down and change the caption here. Let's change the caption to edit product information. I'll hit enter. And so we've changed two things here. We've created a form, we inserted a form, we changed the name to FRM prod, and then we changed the caption to edit product information. And that's going to change the code name to form prod. It's going to change the name of the form that we actually see on the actual form when we see it live to form prod. And then what we can do is we can add some elements to this form. Here is the toolbox for controls for user forms. And if you don't see it or if it's gone, you can come up here and click on the hammer and the wrench. It looks almost like a communist symbol, like the old. Isn't that weird? That seems a little bit weird to me. I don't think there's any connection. I think it's kind of weird. But if you click on that, it brings up this toolbox. And these are controls for the user form. These are objects to put on the user form. So let's grab, let's see, the first one is like an arrow to select objects. The next one is a label. So I'm going to select that big A, capital A. And I can either select it and then come over here and just click and drag a label on here. And that's creating a label. So I've created a label on this form. I could also just click on it and drag across over here. And I can create a label that way. And so let's change this labels. Let's change some of the properties of this label. Let's do LBL for the 3-letter prefix of this object. LBL, and we'll call it ID, please. Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. Let's do this. Is that helpful? It's hard to see. Yeah, it is hard to see that. Please.
2 questions.
Yeah.
What's why do you need like a 3-letter prefix? Other than your same.
Yeah, good question. I could probably better answer that question in about 20 minutes. But the short answer is that when we start to connect this form with some VBA on the back end, and we start to pull and push data to and from the form, having an LBL or an FRM or some other prefixes allows us to know what kind of object it is. So not just what the name is, but we know because each different type of object has a little bit different fields associated with that object. So it allows us to keep track of what the objects are. Is that helpful? Starting point? Okay. And again, yeah, 20 minutes, I'll probably see a little bit more of why that's helpful. So I've added this label on here. And I came over here and I renamed it LBL ID. And this is where we'll put the product ID. So I'm just going to name this LBL ID. And there's some other things here that we can do as well in this properties window. Let's see if I can scroll down here a little bit. We can change, if I select that label, we can change the back color. We can change, let's change the back color. Right now the back color is like a white. Let's change it to, I can click on this palette here on the back color. How about like a darkish gray on the back color, right? So here's my label. My label's selected. I've changed the back color to kind of a darkish gray. We can change the border style from, I can do a single style, I can do a none style. I kind of like the none style just to have the actual text show up without the border. But you can change it however you like. We can do a text align change. We can come down here and say, what is the text? How do we want to align this text? We can do left, we can do center, we can do right. So I'll center my text as just some examples of the different kinds of formatting that we can do on this label. And then let's come over here and add a text box too. Now, what's the difference between a text box and a label? So if I let's see, where's my toolbox? Here it is. Here's my toolbox. We clicked on the label one. Let's add a text box right next to this label. And I'm going to click on one of these squares on the right. I'm just going to drag it out this way. Make this a little bit bigger text box, bigger than the label. And this is going to be the name of the product, right? So we're going to come in here, and this label is going to be the ID number. And this text box is going to be the name. So I'm going to rename this TXT for text box. And I'm going to type in name. That'll be the product name, right? We're going to put the product name here in this text box. And we could format this too. What's the difference between the label and this text box? The label, the user cannot edit. So this product ID, can't change it. But if we wanted to, hopefully we could connect this up so that if we wanted to change the name, update the name, so that we knew that a full body duck is referring to the duck, not human body, we could do that, right? So that's what this text box is where we could allow the user to edit this name. And so that's one of the differences between a label and a text box. And then let's just be real basic here. Let's add a command button. So I'll come up here to the controls, and this one right here, the AB with the circle, kind of the soft circles around, soft edges, is a command button. I'm going to click and drag that down here to the bottom right somewhere. This will be my save button. This will be a command button. So I could save, I could cancel. We'll use this as the save button. And there's a couple things we're going to do. We're going to change the name to CMD save, which stands for command button, CMD, and then save. And in the caption, let's type the word save, so that when the user sees this button, it says save. And that will that'll be the button that they can push to save. We could also click on the default here. There's a default control. If we change this to true, that default control is like the default button if you push the enter key. You ever been on a website somewhere and you're filling out a form, you hit enter and it submits the form? That's what this default option is here for this form that says, hey, if you hit the enter key, it's going to run this button. Like that's the default button for this form. So, which is kind of nice. I like that a lot. So if I'm typing something up here, I don't have to go to my mouse to click on save. I can just type something in here, click enter on the keyboard, and it will run this button. Click save, which is pretty cool. Okay. Now, let's see if I can zoom back out here for a second. So we have this form, and we have these objects on the form. And up here underneath the project VBA project button in the project window, there's two buttons here that will take us from the code view to the form view. So we can view the object or we can view the code behind this object. And that's how we can go between these different views. Okay, so we have a basic form here. What we need to do is we need to add some action to this save button. So once somebody clicks on save, we need to do something, right? What I'm going to do is I'm on the form, and if I double click on the save button, it takes me to the code. How about that? You probably won't have this one. I'll take this one out. Again, so if I'm on the form and I click on this save button twice, like double click it, it's going to take me to some code. Look at this. It says sub. We should recognize this, right? This is the same way to start any sub procedure. This is like the VBA behind this button. We can put some VBA here to execute VBA code when people hit that save button, which is pretty cool. Private is just saying the permissions of this particular sub procedure. So this should look pretty familiar at this point. And again, I was in the form. I was at the form and I double clicked on save, and it takes me to the code view. And let's do this. So when somebody clicks on save, we kind of want this form to be unloaded. We're done, right? So one way to do that is say unload form prod. And that's the name of our form. And this will close the form. So we click on save, we'll close the form. We're going to come back in here and put some more stuff in here. But for now, let's just say unload form prod. Okay, so let's test this. Ready? So if I go back to the form, click on the form and click on the play button, or if I click on F5, then it's going to run this form. There we go. Look at that. There's the form. We've got it. Not bad, right? Okay, show your neighbor. Neighbor, do you have a form? Is the form running? Can you run a form? In fact, I think that gray is a little bit too dark. I'm going to change that to a little bit lighter gray. There we go. I think I like that better. A little bit lighter gray on my label. There's the form. So form prod, if I run this, I should see a form, just like that. Let me see, Hunter, is there any way that I can? Let me see if I can change my resolution real quick. 6.5? 150? That's a little bit better. Let's try that. Okay, how we doing? Brennan? Who's your neighbor, Brennan? What? What? Cody's a good neighbor. Oh, he's your neighbor.
Change this to label. I just barely pulled it up. But it works.
Like 23 minutes into class. Andrew, 23 minutes into class. Okay. No, I've been later. I've started class later than this, haven't I?
And then I need a save.
Okay, so that's working. How we doing, Chris? Hunter? Will? Bryson? Got it? Look at you. Like a master. Like a user form Jedi.
Hitting the right length or width.
And you got the unload me on that one?
The what?
Click on save and it should. Nice. Okay, great. Carson. Good. Eli. Nice. Garrett. That's beautiful. Does it work?
I don't know. That's the question.
Okay, hit F5 or the play button to run it. Nice. Okay, you still have user form 1 there.
Oh my gosh.
If you click on save, does it unload? Does it close it? Oh, you got to unload your save. It doesn't want to stop.
You click there and then.
Not on the user form, actually, not that one. Go back to the
Oh,
form.
this is a user form one.
Yeah, yeah, don't click on that. Click on the save button. Double click the save button, and then that's a different, see how that's the save?
Yeah,
So you want to put your unload up there.
unload up here.
Yeah, do unload space prod. No, FRM prod. What's the name of your form?
Just user.
Oh, you didn't rename it. Yeah, you got to rename it first. Yeah, click on your form here, one click, and then change your user form one there. Change that to FRM prod. Prod. Elise,
So I am stuck at the
you're
beginning.
stuck at the beginning.
I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get another form. I asked ChatGPT.
Yeah, doesn't work on Mac.
Darn it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I can't do this.
yeah, he doesn't have parallels. Andrew spent the first 23 minutes of class pulling up parallels, and now he's got it. He's got it though. He's got it.
Because I tried using another thing the school told me to use and it doesn't
You
work.
know what you can do?
This is what I
Oh, it doesn't work?
You can take it.
It's because I messed it up when I was doing Power BI and Tableau
Oh.
and they reset it and it still doesn't work. So I can't do that. But that's what I was gonna use.
That could work.
It doesn't work.
No,
Oh,
they're nice,
you have an error message or anything?
It like
but not friendly. with
there's
mice.
so many
Server not
things
found.
downloading at the same time that it makes it so it won't work.
Oh, interesting.
And they
Okay.
tried resetting it. And it's
Oh, okay. Parallels.
is it
Kinda
worth
like
it to
what I-
download it with like some weeks left of the semester?
You could do parallels. You could also do VirtualBox.
What's
That's
that?
a free one. It's like an open source parallels.
Virtual box?
Yeah. It's like
This?
parallels. Yeah. Go to
Okay.
downloads. Do you have enough memory on here? How much memory do you have?
I don't know a lot.
Let's try Mac OS.
I have not downloaded like anything. Which one?
Mac, which are you Intel or Apple Silicon on your Mac OS?
Let me look it up in settings.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. I just bought it. What do I
Go up
look
to the
at?
Apple and do about this Mac. Does it tell you there? Chip, Apple M2. So I think that's not Intel.
So I can't do this either.
No, so you do the second option. So you do Mac OS Apple Silicon Host. Yeah, click on that one.
Okay.
And it's downloading. And you could do that for, it's like an open source parallels. So you create a new Windows operating system on your Mac. You can decide how big you want it to be based on your space. Yeah, it takes a minute. Carter, you good? Branch? Okay, great. So we have a form and we can unload this form. By the way, another way to unload this form is just say unload me. How about that? So it knows when you're talking about a form, it says unload me is referring to this form. So if we go back to the form and run it again, we can click on save and it will close, or in other words, unload this form. Sweet. Okay, great. So far, so good. Let's do another step here. In addition to the code of this click, right? So what we've done, so I'm going to go back to this code page on this command save click. On the left here is a list of the objects in our form. And notice I'm selecting the CMD save. That's my command button. On the right are a whole bunch of different actions or events that can be associated with this particular command button. I'm going to do a little bit of a example here to show you what we can do with the power of associating some of these actions with this particular object. So I'm going to come down here to mouse move. When I click on mouse move here, it's going to create another space for some code down here. Let me see if I can close these so we can see the code. This is saying when the mouse moves over the command save button, run this code. Does that make sense? So there's all these different actions or events that are happening dealing with this button. This is saying when the mouse moves, on this button, run this code. Here's the code that I think we want to run. It goes like this. This is the name of the button. And I'm curious to know what you guys think of this code. Whoops, not this one. Yes, this one. Okay, here's some code. It says command save dot left equals R&D is like a random. It's short for random number. Random times me dot inside width. What's me referring to here? Me's referring to this command save button. And so what is this code saying here? You got it. So let's run this now. So if I go back to the form, where's my form? Let's go back to my Project Explorer. If we go back to the form view and I click on run, what happens when I try to hit the save button? I mean, is it possible to hit it? Yeah, that's right. I mean, it would be possible if it randomly, okay, now here's the problem, right? If it goes so far over to the left that I can't click on it, it's gone, right? But so here's just to have some notes here. Random is like this number. It's a random digit between 0 and 1. And me is referring to the form. When running code inside the form. When running code inside the form. So it's doing some kind of random number, some kind of percentage base 0.7, 0.9, 0.33 times the inside width of this form and saying change the left position of this command save so that it is inside that form somewhere. We could also do this. Let's do this. In fact, let me comment this one out up here. And let me just, yeah, I'll leave it here. Let me change this to this. Let's do command save dot left is equal to random times me dot inside width, the inside width of the form, minus command save dot width. What is this doing? This is moving, still moving the form. Sorry, the button. Still moving the button, the command save button. But let's see what happens when we run this. So I'll go back to form. I'll run this. And can we see what's happening? What's happening? It's just the same thing. It's moving all over the place. We can also make this go up and down. So if we go, this is left and right. Let's do command save dot top equals random times me dot inside height minus command save dot height. Now this will go all over the form. So far we've been doing left to right. If I run this, the save button's going all over the place, right? It's randomizing both the height and the vertical and the horizontal position of the button. Why are we learning this, Brother Chapman? Is this like a cruel trick to play on somebody? Job security? Is that what this is? Garrett, can you come figure this out? I have no idea what's going on in my computer.
I'll tell you I'm VBA. Thank you for sending me.
April Fool's is coming up. That's great.
I was just gonna go there, Grace. I can't believe you mentioned that. Let's do this. Let's say for April Fools, let's do it for April Fools. Let's add one more step here, and I'm gonna say, let's shrink, let's shrink the save button as it's moving around. Won't that make people even more nervous, right? So if we run it this hard, did you see the code? Maybe I was a little bit too fast on that. We're saying command save dot width. We're going to change the width of the button is equal to command save dot width -2. So we're just going to take off, like, what is that, 2 pixels or two somethings? I can't remember what the unit is on this. Let's see what happens when we run this. Is it getting smaller? It's slow. Would that make you really nervous to see your save button moving and shrinking at the same time? No, now I have to save. No, 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 no. Isn't that terrible? That's terrible. Okay, last thing then for Grace, because we'll do this. What if we just do this in this situation? Let's do an if statement. If month of now is equal to 4 and day of now is equal to 1, then how about that? Now this will only run on a particular month and a particular day. Isn't that nice? So we added the if statement. If the month is April and day is 1, then run this terrible script, else don't run it. So if we go back to the product, we'll run this guy. All of a sudden, it does, wait, it works. It doesn't work. It's kind of sad, right? Okay, great. But part of the reason why I wanted to show you that is because the next thing we're going to do is we need to initialize the form. So in order to fill this form with information, there's a command that we're going to use to fill it. So right now we don't have any product information. We don't have any product name in here. What we're going to do is we're going to use the initialize on the form so that we can pull data into this form when the form opens. So if I go back to the code view, I'm going to select user form on this left dropdown. And I'm going to select not click, but initialize. And I mean, you could also type this in if you wanted to, right? It's not magic. I mean, this particular code is not magic. It's just that the click down gives us a fast way to build this code. That's all it is, right? So you could type this in too if you wanted to. But the options there are pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting to know that for the user form, we have all kinds of events that we can use to run some code, right? Mouse down, mouse up, mouse move, key press, double click, click, activate. There's all kinds of scroll, zoom, please.
Not from the top from down. Now, is there a way to get it to vertex so I can move up and sit and down?
Yeah, for sure, right? Wow, you guys are getting really creative, right? Yeah. So if mouse up, if your cursor is on this form and you mouse up, you could run code that says mouse down. Isn't that terrible? That's horrible. I can't believe you thought about that, Chris. He's like, April Fool's is going to be so fun this year. Okay, great. So this initialize there, it's going to run this code every time this user form opens. Like every time it's opened, it's going to run this code, which is what we want. So here we'll fill in some code here. What we'll do first is we need to know which row we're talking about, which product we're talking about. So let's create a row variable. We'll do row as long. And let's set the row equal to whatever the active cell is, dot row. So wherever that active cell is in the sheet, that row is going to be the row that it pulls the information from. In fact, let's do this. We did this before. Let's take this dim row as long, and let's go ahead and put it up at the very top of our module here. And that way, any sub procedure can use this variable as row, and we'll use it across different sub procedures. So we created that row variable. We put it at the top. We created the row. And we're saying whatever the active cell is, whichever cursor our row is on, that's the row that we want this form to populate with. And then let's call another sub. And let's call the sub called show data. One of the reasons why we call another sub here is to modularize our code. I can't remember if I talked about that very much in this class or not, but the benefit of splitting apart your code into different modules is that allows you to debug faster. It allows you to say, okay, it's not in this module, the problem's in this module. It's to allow you to contain problems if there's a problem. And then it also allows you building blocks to build from, right? It allows you to use one module over and over and over in different ways if you have that module separated out from everything else. So there's a whole bunch of good reasons to modularize your code, and that's what we're going to do here. So when this form initializes, we're going to create a sub called show data, and that's how we're going to put all the data into this form. So I'll scroll up to the top, and I'm going to put my show data up here. So sub show data, and this is the one that we want to run when that form comes to life, when we open that form. Okay, one of the first things we want to do, in fact, let me go ahead and put a note in here too. Run when user form initializes. Okay, great. I probably don't do enough comments in my code. I apologize. The more comments, the better, frankly, in the long run. Okay, so we have a label. So let's do lbl.id, no, lbl ID, I think is the name. And we want, and it recognizes it because I have this IntelliSense menu here. So if you type in the name of your label that we just created on your form, and you do a dot after that, it's an object. And VBA Excel recognizes, okay, that's an object. That object has what? Properties and methods associated with that object, right? We're going to say dot caption. Caption is the one that will change the text. And what we want to do is we want to pull in from the data sheet, because data is the code name for where this data is. Let me pull that sheet up again. Here's the, it's products is the tab name, right? Products is the tab name. Data is the code name. So it's the data sheet. And my cursor right now is on row 19. Let's see, where's my full body duck? Let's do that guy. So I'm going to select my full body duck row, which for me is, it's on row 26. And let's say data dot, and then I can type in cells, comma row, because we've set our row on the initialize to the active cell, comma 1. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for the product ID to put into this label, and the product ID is in column 1. So I'm looking for this product ID. So I'm saying data.cells, row is the row number I'm on, 1 is the column, dot value. And that's going to pull the value from the sheet into the form when we run the form. Let's do another one, and then we'll run it. Let's do me.textName. Me is talking about that form. .text. So text is the property of the text name object. And again, I'm going to pull from the data sheet cells. I'm going to pull from the same row, but which column has the name in it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to pull from column 6 dot value. And let's run this. I'll go back to the form, click on the form, click on run, and there it is right there. We have the product ID and we have the full body duck. Can I type in here full body for the duck, not the hunter, human? Okay, if I click on save, we should change the name, right? Actually, not yet. We actually haven't told it to save yet. All we've done is we've just pulled the data from the sheet into the form. But we've got it. We've got this information in the form. I mean, that is like the basics of user forms right there. We've just hit the basics of saying, how do we pull this information in? And now we're ready to add, we're ready to start saving some data. So let's do a neighbor check. Neighbor, this is where I'm at. Neighbor, I've got this form. It's got whichever row I select, I can select a different row in my Excel, and I can run the form now, and it's going to have different information here. Product ID and product name. Did you get it? Justice, I am recording. Is that what you're asking? You haven't asked me yet today. I feel like I have to keep reminding you. Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
LBL ID. Is that the name of your?
Is it the ID?
Yeah, it's whatever you named it on your form. Go back to your form prod. And it's this label right there. Click on that label. And then it's that name right there. So I renamed mine to be LBL
L E.
and then capital I
Okay. ID.
D. Yeah, that's right. Lowercase d. Yeah. And then that's the name that I use.
So
Right
yes.
there. That's it. So LBL capital ID. See if that works. So if you run the form now. Okay, same thing. So TXT name is referring to the text box on the form. Yeah. So click on the text box there. And then text box 1, I changed that to TXT name. But you can name it however you want, but that's just the way I do
TXT.
it. Capital N.
Last name. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it should work. You want to run it? See if it works. You might have to run this one right there. Yeah, run that.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Carson? Nice. Mono piso. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Some show data. Yeah, go back to your product here. Form prod, yeah. And then click on label. And then change this label 1 to LBL. Yep, capital I. And then lowercase d. That's it. And then click on the text box there and change the text box 1 name there. Yeah, change that to TXT, capital N for name. N and then lowercase a. Name. Perfect. And now when you run that, it should work. So go back to the code view. In fact, click on this. I think, yeah, click right. Oh, just once. Do one click on that. And that's selected. Click on the green arrow. The green play button. Yeah. And okay, let's see that. Oh, that should be LBL capital ID. I think you have 2 L's right there.
L.
Yep.
Capital.
Capital I. Lowercase d. Yep. And then click on the play again. There you go. We got it. And you can change the size of it. Oh, your save button. You like that. You're gonna keep the moving save button. Mono Biso's keeping the moving save button. Carter, how's it coming?
I actually have a little issue. So when I run it,
Application to find the object. Okay, and then click OK, and what happens? Oh, nothing?
yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so user form initializes what it should run, active cell.row, show data, and then show data's up here, lib caption. That looks right. Click on your form product again one more time. And then pull up your properties. Would you go to view? And then do properties windows. Where to go? Yeah, right there. Property window. Oh, that's an interesting place for your properties window. Can you try to click and drag it over there? Somewhere, yeah, right, not that right above there, maybe? Yeah, yeah, there you go. Nice.
No.
And then keep dragging it over. All the way.
This is where it's going.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What if you close your, and then if you drag that over to the side, does that?
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do.
Usually it gives me a little pop-up that says I can put it right there.
Well, how do we get the property?
Okay, yeah, that looks good. So properties, windows, command save, click on your edit form. And then, yeah, click in the gray area here.
Yeah.
And then click on properties, see what that says. Form prod, okay, that's right. Okay, click X on this one. And then click play one more time. Runtime error, application defined or object defined error, but it doesn't tell you where.
Yeah. it
Initial. Okay, click OK. That's it. There. And scroll down. Is there anything else in this one? That's it.
Yeah.
User form initialize.
Maybe is there a way to pull up your code again? See
Sure.
if it-
It's for like.
Do you have this dim row as long at the top? Okay, that might be it.
So I don't have the option explicit part either.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and scroll up to the very top and put it right before the sub and put that down a couple lines. Yeah.
And just write in
And
option.
just write it in. Yeah, you can write it in. And then you can do row as long. I think that's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, and then type in dim row as long.
Dim rows. So
It'll move that line after you type it in.
just right here.
Yeah, or beneath that. So yeah, go to the next line and type it in. Sure, right there. Dim row as long. Perfect. And to get the option explicit, go up to tools and do options. And then do click on auto syntax check, so it's unchecked there. And then click on require variable declaration and then click OK. And then whenever you open another one, you should see option explicit there.
And how do we get the project place back?
Yeah, do view and do project explorer.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder how to get it right there. But
And maybe
whole
that you can
property
drag that.
thing.
If you click and drag that over, what happens there? And if you drag it back over, like to the very top, maybe click and drag it. But if you close your media window first and then drag it back over, or we could drag it where you want. Yeah, but that's how you move it around, if that's helpful. There is a way to manipulate those windows so that, and you should be able to click and drag that over to the left, except drag it back down like below there, so it comes, yeah, now drag left.
There it is.
There's that. Maybe that's better. And then maybe you close the immediate window or something. I don't know. Okay, good. Okay, so far what we've been able to do is we're pulling data from the sheet and putting it into the form. Let's see if we can get data from the form and put it back to the sheet. That's where we need to go next. So before we do that, let's add one more thing here to the form. I'm going to go to my form product, and I want to do, there's all kinds of controls here. I want to add the combo box, which is this one. This is a category, and it's like a drop down. It's like just a drop down box. So I'll put that in here. And let me pull up my properties window so I can rename that. I'll go ahead and open it up a little bit. Properties, I'm going to do CBO is the prefix. And I'm going to say category. So this is going to be a category box. Category is going to come from this category list right here. So it has all kinds of categories of products in. And I'm going to pull from that category. Is that a pretty wide category list? That's probably about right. So I've renamed this. Now I need to go back to my code. And in my code, I need to fill that, right? I need to say CBO category dot text is equal to data dot cells row. And which column is this? This is going to be column 2. Column 2 is the category. So I'm going to pull it from the same row that I'm in. Where's my full body duck? I like that one. So that's going to be column 2 dot value. The toolbox? If I go here and the combo box is right there. Yeah, does that work? Great. Okay, so we're filling this with data. Let's click on the save button now. Double click the save. That'll take us back to this particular part of the code. Okay, this is not the show data. What I want to do is I want to save. Scroll down. Right there. Oh, this guy right here. Yeah, so this is where I'm saying pull the data from the sheet, row, whatever the row is that I'm on, second column, pull the value of that cell, put it into that form object, CBO category.text. Yep, got it? Good. Okay, so at this point we've pulled it in. Now what I want to do is I want to come down here to this command save click button, and I want to say, okay, once we make the changes in the actual form and I go to click on save, I want you to take whatever's in that field in the form, in that object, I want you to put it back onto the spreadsheet. I want you to overwrite what's on the spreadsheet. That's what we're gonna do now. So it's basically like the reverse, right? It's like the reverse of this up here. So we'll take whatever is in the, let's see, we can't change the caption, the product ID, so we don't have to do that. But whatever's in the text box, I'll put that down here. And I want to say, put whatever's in that text box into data dot cells row comma 6 dot value, right? We're just flipping this around. Does that make sense? I just flipped this around from this line right there. just flipping it around. So whatever's in this text box on the form, when I click save, take whatever's there and put it back into that worksheet. And the same thing for the combo category. Data.cells row comma 2 dot value is equal to combo category dot text. Take the text from that category combo box, put it back into the Excel. Okay, great. Now that we've got those, let's test that out. You think that'll work? Oh, this one right here?
That's the information.
That's right. We're pulling from the spreadsheet, column 2, into the combo category box. So if I go back to my form, I run the form, now we should see 3 different items. The label is not editable. I can't change that. But I can come up here and I can change this. And when I click on save, guess what should happen? It should add this to the spreadsheet, right? So save. And if I go back to the spreadsheet, there it is. I've put it into the spreadsheet. That's it. That's the one. There's only one category. Yeah, how do we want, if we wanted to change the category from waterfowl to another category, we'd have to add those other categories. So let's do that. Let's go back to the code. And we're going to do this in our show data. Because what we want to do is we want to populate that category box with more categories. So we'll leave this the way it is, and we'll put that at the top of the box. But let's create what we need to create is a loop, actually. And we need to go through the list, that list of categories, and put all of those categories into the category box. So let's do dim x as integer. X is equal to 2. We'll start with 2 because in the spreadsheet list, where's my spreadsheet list? We're looking at all these categories right here, right? We are starting on row 2. So I don't have to worry about row 1. I'm just going to start with x is equal to 2. And we'll do until lists dot cells x comma 6 dot value is equal to empty. And I'm going to finish off my loop. It's been a while since we've done a loop in this class, a do loop in this class. So we're saying do until it's a blank value. And I'll go ahead and add my do events because I'm doing a do loop. And as we go through this list, so list is referring to, let me see if I can pull this down. Lists is the name of the code name and the tab name of the sheet of data that has all my lists on it. Here's my list sheet. And we're in column 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're saying cells, whatever that x is, that's x is going to be our row as we go through this list, comma 6 dot value until it's blank. In fact, we probably also should add a counter here. X is equal to x plus 1 to help us go down that list. What we're going to do is we're going to pull data into the category box, CBO category, dot add item. That's the action. That's the method of this object, right? CBO category dot add item. And what are we adding? We're adding lists dot cells x comma 6 dot value. That's what we're doing. So it's going to go through that entire list until there's no more list left. It's going to add each item from the list sheet into the category combo box. And let's try this. Go back to the form, run the form, and we should see a combo category box that has all of these categories listed. How about that? I can tell that you guys are impressed. I can tell you're kind of like speechless. Question, Cody and then Garrett?
How is it doing it? Like, how is it making it? You have to specify. Like, why is it not doubling?
Oh, yeah. Good question. It's actually pulling, it's not pulling from the products, it's actually pulling from the list sheet. So in fact, if we go back to some of this other code, if you remember the other in our modules, it went through and created a list sheet. So it actually, it's a good question. It actually removed all these duplicates, right? It's saying we know that in this product form, there's multiple of the same category. We found the unique ones of the categories and put them on this sheet. Yeah, good, great question. Please, Garrett.
Categories like that you're looking at just when you look at the stuff on your the drop down. That drop down automatically put it for you or
No, it does not. Not the way we've coded it right now. So the way we have it right now is just grab it from the list. Where is it right here? This list right here. Grab it from this list and put it in here. So there's no automatic alphabetic order. Correct.
so you can't make
We could do that. Yeah, we could put it into an array and we could say, we could write code that says sort this array alphabetically and then put it into the category. We could do that. Yeah. Yeah, we could. Please.
you also could way it work as well as if we went back to the list and put it up.
Yeah, we can do that too.
You change category in your format.
Yeah.
Save this, change category on here.
Yeah, did you try it?
No.
Yes, it does. It should. Let's check. Where's my full body duck? Here it is. Full body duck. I'll select that one and I'll run my form. It's waterfowl route now. So should we take, I don't know, turkey? Is there a duck category? Acrylic duck. Is that really a category? Duck acrylic. There it is. I'm going to change this to duck acrylic. Click on save. And let's see if it worked. Duck acrylic right there. That's it. That's pretty cool, right? So what we've done is we've been able to create a form. We can pull data, put it into these elements, into these objects in the form. We can save the form and have that data go back into the spreadsheet. Very cool. Was there a hand? Another question? Let's go back to the form. Let's add one more element here. There's a whole bunch here. We don't have time to go through all these controls, but let's add one more. Let's add the element of an option button. And the way the option button works is we first have to add a frame. And a frame is, where's the frame? This guy right here, X and Y. So I'm on the toolbox, I'm on the form, and I'm looking for this X and Y frame here. And if I drag that in here, it's just a big frame. It's a big frame. I'll shrink it down a little bit. And instead of frame one for the caption, I'm going to say department. And this is just another way to have a different kind of control on your form. This is a frame, and everything in this frame is referring to a single value. So for example, what we'll do is we'll add an option button. Here's an option button. Click and drag that in here. And let's name this OPT for option. And let's do hunting. So we'll do OPT hunting as the name. And the caption is going to be hunting. And let's add another command button. I could also just copy it and rename it. We'll do OPT for the second one. Let's do outdoor. And the caption is going to be outdoor. And these are, I think there's 4 departments. Let's do another one. OPT apparel. And I'll rename the caption apparel. And let's do one more. Now notice, where am I putting these? I'm putting all 4 of these inside of that frame, right? So I'm not just randomly putting them on the form. I'm actually putting them in together in the frame, connecting all these option buttons. So I have a department frame, and then I've gone in here and added 4 option buttons. I mean, I don't know. This may not be the best way to show an option functionality, but it works, right? So if we see this form, we can now choose one of these 4 departments. And notice how they're mutually exclusive. I can't select more than one. I have to choose one. It's not pulling in information yet. All I can do is I can just see that that's been created. So let's do this. So we have 2 things to do then. We need to pull the information in from the sheet, and we need to save it back when we change it, right? So let's do the pull in first. So I'm going to go back to the code view, and I'll go to the show me data. What's it called? Show data. Come up to the top. There's my show data sub. At the bottom of that sub, I'll come down here. Let's do a select case. Select case data.cells row comma 3 is our department column. So department is row 3. Select case data cells row 3 dot value. If the case is true that it's hunting, then let's say OPT hunting dot value equals true. And that's the way to code to fill in that option button if it's true. If the case is not hunting, but if it's outdoor, then our OPT outdoor object, that value is going to be true. If the case is, what's the next one? Apparel, then OPT apparel dot value is equal to true. And then finally, case general, OPT general dot value is equal to true. OPT general, OPT apparel, OPT outdoor, OPT hunting. These are the names of the objects in our form, right? We're referring to the name of the object in our form. If we wanted to be really good programmers, we could do a case else. And this could be a message box, let's say. Invalid department. Setting to general. And we could say, we could show it a particular critical thing. And then we could say OPT general dot value equals true. So if it doesn't fit one of these 4 cases that we're expecting, then it pops up with a message, and we're going to set it to general anyway, which is not bad. Okay, so this is getting data from the Excel into the form. Can we get this back into Excel? Yeah, we can. That's the right answer. Chris has got it. How would we do that? We're right now in the show data. Which sub is putting data back into the Excel? Which sub would that be? Command save click. Very good. Command save click is the one that we're putting data from the form back into Excel. Very good. This one we actually have to do a little bit more kind of a loop to see which one is true. So maybe we'll save that for next time. How about that? Let's do that. So if I run this where we're at right now, we should be able to see, oh wait, I forgot my end case, end select. Is that what you were gonna say? Somebody rose their hand back there. I need to finish my in select there. I forgot my in select statement, so I got an error when I tried to run it. Let me try to run it again. Invalid department setting to general. What else did I forget? The caption, I changed the caption to department. Yeah, that's the right one.
How's the code?
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with my code too. What am I missing? Let me double check my, which one? Oh, that's why. Because I clicked on row 1. How about that? It didn't recognize that. Department is not the name of one of the 4. Let me click on my full body duck. And let me run this case again, or the form again. And there it is. So I have my full body duck. I have my new category. And it is in the hunting department. Is that true? Yes, it's true. So it's pulled that into the form. And when I click on save, I can make some changes. I can change this back to, no, it really should be waterfowl. And I haven't connected this back up to the Excel spreadsheet yet, but these two are connected. And so I can save these and the spreadsheet will update back to waterfowl and for the duck only. Okay, great. I think that's where I'd like to leave off for today. Let me show you the code here if you want to look at the code for this select case. And let me see if you have any questions. Other than that, we'll see you guys on Monday. Good luck with that midterm. You got this. You got this. I don't know what the average is right now, but I think it's mid 80s. 2 people have taken it. You're fine with that. How's it coming? Justice? Where'd you get? How far'd you get?
Got lost, so I'm gonna watch the video now.
Oh, yeah, I should probably stop recording.
Yeah.
Where's man?
Great.